Great. With it being a packed agenda and us having a quorum, do y'all want to get started?
Yes.
All right. All right, I will call us to order at 6 o'clock on. I will call us to order at 6 o'clock. Thank you. Okay. Our first order of business.
Roll call.
Oh, roll call. Oh, my goodness gracious. It's like, this is my first time. President Sarah Masinski, my pronouns are she, her.
Vice President for Finance, Paige Allen, she, her.
Trustee Rachel Veneta, they, them.
Trustee Paige Ryan, she, her.
Trustee Matt Reed, he, him.
Trustee Jennifer Marlowe, she, her.
Executive Director Andrea Nicolai, she, her.
Assistant Director Melanie Metzger, she, her.
Sean Smith, Board Treasurer.
Mackenzie Clark, Counsel to the Library, she, her.
Do we announce people that are on?
Adam Stump, Director of Finance, he, him.
I'm Brian Hare from Library Strategies, he, him.
Kathy Alloway, Library Strategies.
Great. Thank you, everyone. All right. The first order of business are the trustee service acknowledgements. This is a bittersweet time. As president, it is my privilege to thank our 3 outgoing trustees for their support to APL, or 3 of our outgoing, because 1 is me. But trustees Gauze, West, and Pryor each took an oath to support APL and the community that it serves. On behalf of the board, I would like to thank you all for serving as trustees and bringing your unique talents and perspectives to bear on this work. Trustee Gauze, I don't see virtual yet. We will share her gift and figure out how to get it to her. Trustee West, we do have a gift of appreciation for your 4 years of service. And on a personal note, I would like to say that I have liked working alongside of you and that we've had 2 committees together and I have learned a lot and I really appreciate it. Thank you. Right. Yeah. Right. Trustee Pryor, we have another gift for you of appreciation for your bonus year of service. The fact that you are being thanked a 2nd year in a row is a testament to your dedication to this board and to APL. After your 5-year term, during which you served as president for 2 years in a row, you were willing to come back and be appointed for 1 more year when we had an unanticipated vacancy. Thank you for your service, your extra time, and the time that you spent acclimating me to this role.
Thank you.
So we have 1 more trustee who's leaving board service, President Masinski. And I just want to say from all of us, thank you so much for being a spirited, devoted president and member of the board, for going above and beyond, especially in time commitments, doing APL and doing Upper Hudson. and living and breathing library, particularly this last year of your service. Really appreciate your optimism and diplomacy and your sense of humor and your willingness to learn new things and help us all to gel better together. So we really appreciate you and we will miss you this summer.
And on behalf of the library, I just want to thank all of our outgoing trustees. Really appreciate your service to the library and for helping support our staff and support us in all of the work that we do. So thank you from all of us.
Well, it's been an honor. Thank you. Oh, Shaniqua, I'm so sorry. Trustee Jackson, welcome.
Trustee Jackson.
All right, the next item on our agenda is the ceremonial swearing in of our newest trustee, Matthew Reed. If you can repeat after me into the microphone so that it's in the recording. Oh, stand up and.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what I thought you were gonna
all the things.
skip.
I, Matthew Reed,
I, Matthew Reed,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of trustee
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of trustee
of the Albany Public Library according to the best of my ability.
of the Albany Public Library according to the best of my ability.
Welcome. All right, moving on. Is there any public comment?
Andrea West, Albany County resident, former Albany Public Library trustee. I would like to extend, so I'm a little tall, just trying to get the mic right. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to President Sarah Mazinski, immediate past President Bridget Pryor, immediate past Vice President Jarre Gause, as well as Executive Director Andrea Nicolai for their leadership, support, and dedication to the mission of the Albany Public Library. It has been a privilege and honor to serve alongside such committed leaders and fellow trustees as a member of the Albany Public Library Board of Trustees. I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to contribute to an organization that plays such a vital role in promoting literacy, lifelong learning, equity, and community engagement. Thank you for your authenticity, collaboration, and unwavering commitment to serving the residents of our community. The experiences, knowledge, and relationships gained during my tenure have been invaluable and unparalleled. I am proud of what we have accomplished together and look forward to witnessing the continued growth and success of the Albany Public Library. With heartfelt appreciation and best wishes, Andrea West, Board Trustee, 2022 to 2026.
Thank you. All right, was that it for strategic plan, for public comment? Okay. Moving forward, we will jump in to the strategic plan. As you may have noticed, we have special guests who have joined us, and our colleagues at Library Strategies are going to share the work that they've been doing and present the draft strategic plan that was developed for us.
Good evening, everyone. This is a sound check. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, Brian, you want to test, please?
Yeah, everybody can hear me as well?
Yep.
Loud and clear.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, tonight we're going to unveil our draft for your consideration of the strategic plan. And Brian and I are going to alternate doing slides. The first one here is a recap of the plan's activities. In the gold box to the left, there are all the inputs that we did. Again, as stated in previous meetings, getting over 1,000 survey responses was much better than the norm and far surpassed the sample needed for it to be representative of the community. And after we took all of those inputs and wrote summary reports, we drafted a plan that is closely connected to the input of the public and the staff. So tonight we seek your review, your possible approval with any changes you might want to make. And when you pass the plan, you need to make sure that you review it, the progress made on it, and the plan itself on a regular basis. And we'll be leaving further instructions with Andrea for that as we go along. Are there any questions at this point about the activities that were done?
I am not hearing any.
All right, thank you. Next slide. What we're going to do tonight is, okay, hold on here. Here we go. I hope the letters are big enough for you all to see on the screen, as well as any documents that you have in front of you. We are going to go through this and read each strategy one at a time to make sure that you feel comfortable with it and don't have any questions. So, Brian, do you want to start with goal one and we'll alternate slides?
Yep, no problem. So goal one will cover 2 slides. We've got sort of 6 strategies underneath goal one, which you see is elevate the visitor experience. I think on the whole, a lot of the feedback we received, really was around some of the things that the library is doing or changed or what the experience is at the branches. And so we wanted to have that sort of be one of the main focuses in the next few years for everybody. So the first one we thought would be pretty important is obviously you can see here collaborating a bit more with city, county, local nonprofits, looking into some of the public safety issues that's, straining patron experiences and those library services. We've, got that feedback through the survey. We got that feedback through the SOAR sessions. This is the kind of thing that's probably top of mind when it comes to changing, how folks see and what they feel about the library. So what I'll probably do is I'll talk through each of these 3 and then I'll kind of open the floor if that's all right. Next one, looking at obviously part of that patron experience and the safety issues as related to folks, using some of the branches, because they sometimes have no other place to go. And that's something that obviously the entirety of your community is dealing with. And as we all know, in many of the communities in our country, the library tends to be the place where folks can go. And so looking at maybe trying to pilot some on-site social services directly supported by the partnering agencies in the city and the county in particular, who are really tasked and equipped to deal with these things. Because, for the most part, what you guys are trying to focus on is library services. And a lot of the things folks are, struggling with or dealing with are maybe more related to mental health services or financial support services or things of that nature. And so being able to link up more closely, directly with social service agencies, we think would be a great start to try to work with the folks from that population. And then finally, looking at service hours, we know that they were changed not too long ago, and that you have to work with the budget that you have. By the way, congratulations on having more budget than you've had in quite some time. We were very, very happy to be alongside you during that process, and super thrilled that your community supported, I think it was 71% or so, which is pretty fantastic. But
79%.
70, yeah, exactly. Thank you. So that was the hours were one of the next biggest things that we heard from folks. And so our suggestion is to look at, the metrics, peer libraries, staffing capacity audit, and then really potentially try to look at getting them more similar or more consistent across branches, possibly more hours. We didn't want to bake in any specific recommendations, right? That's the tactical work you guys are going to be doing. But ultimately trying to maybe adjust them so that they're less confusing for folks. Because I feel like confusion around what days, what times certain branches were open was something we heard a lot about. Did you have any comments on those three, Kathy, before we open the floor?
None.
Did you guys have any thoughts or comments or suggestions on those three?
Just a comment that I don't think any of us find this surprising. So I think these are really helpful and affirming in that we know what's going on with our library.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. We could probably jump to the next slide. We can always hop back if anybody thinks of something they want to discuss. So the next section of goal 1 has 3 more strategies here. Explore ways of serving patrons outside the physical open hours. There's a lot of different ways that libraries are doing that these days. It's a way to provide services when you decide that you truly can't change maybe service hours in some meaningful way, and sometimes looking at finding different ways outside of the physical plant and physical hours is a great way to do that. I in my regular full-time job work at Cleveland Public Library, and something we have been building into all of our new branches. We're doing a renovation of all 27 neighborhood branches, our book lockers. So that's something we talked about again through conversations with the team and the strategic planning team. We wanted to try to get away from getting too specific in these strategies so that it gives you guys the flexibility to decide what those actionable items are. But I think everyone was excited about the idea of book lockers, so I did want to at least mention it in this presentation. My branch in particular, we can't even fill them up fast enough, or they get full every day. So that's something you may want to look into in terms of other creative ways to serve outside the open hours. Next strategy, pursuing capital projects, prioritization in the facility plan, and expand that to encompass accessibility, which was very important to not only the survey respondents, the SOAR session attendees, but the strategic planning team as well. Really wanted us to focus on accessibility related to the plan and the buildings. And so looking at some improvements there, we think is always going to be worthwhile. And then finally, in goal 1, we have audit and enhance exterior lighting, signage, landscaping, particularly where visibility is a concern with partnering companies or agencies. Looking at ways to kind of make those a little more consistent across branches and a little bit more attention grabbing potentially. So when folks are going down the street, especially at night, they say, okay, there's the library. Any thoughts or comments on any of those 3? Hearing none. We appreciate that. Hopefully we're hitting things on the head. And obviously you guys had an opportunity to look at these. So when you've got questions, feel free to pipe in. I'm going to turn it over to Kathy for goal 2.
Okay, Goal 2 has to do with your collections, including the digital resources. One of the things that we heard from staff is that they missed selecting some items for their locations. Albany went to a centralized purchasing workflow, which is very, it's really an easy way to take a, to coordinate that work of ordering, what book for what branch. But some of them miss it. So we are suggesting that a portion of the annual collection budget, a little bit be given to each branch so they can allocate it toward materials that are selected for their particular branch. This is going to make the librarians, quite frankly, feel very fulfilled again because we love selecting books. It's a core part of our job, but it gives them the opportunity to really respond to neighborhood needs and customize each branch location. 2.2 is to launch a library of things. This is a big thing going on around the country. It showed up in all of the recent strategic plans I've done, but the public wants to be able to check out stuff like cake pans and board games and some minor tools for working around the house. So maybe if you launch one at one branch, you could test it and see what its feasibility is for the whole system. And then finally, 2.3 is in response to people who either didn't know about the digital resources or didn't necessarily understand things like the high cost of ebooks. So we're suggesting that this plan have an element where you educate the public to understand those digital resources, how they are financed, and how they can use them. Any questions? Okay, hearing none. There's 2 more strategies for this goal. Because the public and your community members were no exception, universally, people are complaining about the long waits for ebooks and e-audio. They don't understand that the e-audio book that they can get from Amazon through Audible, it's like $10 or $15 for them if they're a Prime member. Costs the library $100, and then you have to pay another $100 after the first 10 uses. This licensing is crazy, and by the way, the American Library Association is fighting hard with publishers to get them to have a more realistic cost model. We are asking the library administration to explore some way of getting together with other libraries or find other budget conscious strategies so that you can expand ebook and e-audio holdings because people want more of those. And finally, folks also want to see an expansion of the Museum and Adventure Paths program. You've got one of the most robust programs that I've seen. You have so many agencies and institutions, people want more of the same. No surprises on either of these, I guess, but any questions or comments? Okay.
All right, I'll take over for goal 3, build a firm financial foundation. Like I said before, this is a much more attainable goal with the recent budget passage. So looking to make sure that the public and the board are, just always looking ahead and being transparent and communicative about what that budget means, right? You do a 17% increase, more folks are going to be paying attention than they were before. So doing an annual 5-year financial forecast to the board and looking at tax levy scenarios, capital needs projections, just make sure that the public feels confident about how the library is spending the money that they're giving you each year. So that was sort of the first to kind of establish that foundation through transparent communication. Second goal would be, a fairly standard one, to be honest, maintain and regularly review all the policies related to finance. making sure that you're in step with what's legally possible, as well as looking at what kind of developments sometimes come along on the state level. Sometimes things or policies or laws change and it opens up new avenues. And that might be something, that you can then kind of change a policy related to. Third would be strengthen and deepen partnerships with Friends and Foundation of Albany Public Library. Strengthen and deepen implies that you guys already have strong and deep relationships with these organizations. And I think that was something we were really thoughtful about our language here, acknowledging that you guys are already doing incredible work, but looking at how those partnerships can work together as much as possible, understanding what each is doing, right? So no one's stepping on anybody's toes as far as the manner in which those groups are supporting the library, really just seem pretty logical in goal 3 for us, especially with having conversations with folks in the community as well as some folks from I think at least one of these organizations, if not both. And then finally, there's 4 strategies here in goal 3. The last is looking to identify and pursue significant grant opportunities aligned with the strategic plan priorities, right? So you've got all these things we're suggesting you should try to do in the next few years. And it's pretty much impossible for you to do everything on here with your existing budget. There's no way around that. So grants are really going to be a way that you can make some of these maybe smaller ticket projects happen. You go to a funder and tie what you're asking for the money for to your strategic plan, really helps in your application process. So we wanted to build that into this section as well. Any questions or thoughts on goal 3?
I have some questions about, I guess, in terms of us being bound to the tax levy, not totally understanding how we can, like, what are appropriate uses of the FFAPL? Like, do we need, like, can we have a standing quarterly financial meeting where the Audit and Finance Committee and FFAPL talk about, here's something that we think we need money for? I mean, it's always like really targeted small programs that we can use the money for. So I guess I'm just kind of struggling to like visualize how we would use FFAPL and better.
Can I answer that question? Okay. One of the 7 interviews was done with the woman who is currently acting president and secretary of the Friends. And they're in a real transition point now. They've lost people from the board, but there's a couple people on that board that really want to get it going again. And this is not going to be something that can happen overnight, but I think that this strategic plan should encourage them to strengthen their board, get some influential people on it, and turn it into the fundraising machine that it has the potential to be. It's that simple. So I don't think they're there yet, but beginning to make them understand how critical their income is to the Albany Library's future. Even though your tax levy was increased, no library can ever keep ahead of its capital needs or inflation and all of the things that happen. And there are real opportunities that, in general, public libraries are not taking advantage of, including planned giving, that could be really optimized. I've been in a couple libraries where we've really changed and bolstered the Friends. Library Strategies is actually an arm of the Friends of the St. Paul Public Library. And this consulting group was formed because they were a Friends group that went from like 0 to 1,000. So I hope that gives you a little hope. Not a transformation that'll happen overnight, but within reach of a strategic plan.
Yeah, if I could follow up with what Kathy just articulated, which, I second everything she said about that. But in our particular case, the library services team does meet monthly with the FFAPL grants writer. The grants writer has been a great addition to the FFAPL sort of grant search outlook process. But another thing that we're hoping to build into is is helping the Friends and Foundation with an annual appeal. And one of the things that Friends and Foundations of libraries look for before they do an annual appeal is that list of needs or that, list of proposed areas for funding. And so that's another way, a really important way that we would try to give the Friends and Foundation the information they need to then go out and make those appeals to the community. As it stands, the Friends and Foundation are in a really, even though they haven't had the capacity to do an annual appeal in a few years, they've seen regular donations coming in. I can see that Albany is a community that really kind of wants to go the extra mile for the library. I mean, certainly I've seen that in the latest budget season, but I think that there's so much potential there. And I think that's one way that we can help them. And we can certainly talk further with the Audit and Finance Committee about what that partnership needs to look like to build for success. Kathy, back to you.
Hey. Goal 4 is about expanding community awareness and access. Another thing that was not a surprise in the strategic plan, shows up in every libraries, is the community is saying they don't know the full extent of the wonderful things the library has. And some of the staff were discussing this as well. So 4.1 asks for you over the life of the plan to develop a more concrete and comprehensive communications and marketing plan that takes a look at target audiences, social media, and any kind of staff or contracting needs that you have for amplifying messages. 4.2 asks for improvement of the library website. Some people that we interviewed or even on the survey said they had problems with accessibility, and there are standards in the state that need to be met. You want to look at search engine optimization and also making sure that your website is compatible with people's mobile devices. In 4.3, we have a recommendation that was met with a very, almost celebration, positive response from teachers that we engaged with. Explore the feasibility of an opt-out library card program or other services so that the district's school-age children don't have to depend on their parents to go to the library to sign them up. This is being done in other systems around the country, and it's something you could definitely look at here to see if it's feasible or doable. And 4.4 is simply to be aware of underserved people or people who are not using the library and try to develop some ways to get them in, but with the community partners who are embedded in those communities. We definitely left this one open because there are various kinds of groups and needs in the community, and this gives you flexibility to look at it in the next 4 years. Any questions or comments? Okay.
All right, goal 5 has 6 strategies, so we'll see 2 slides of that, and then we'll take any final comments or thoughts. Support a strong and engaged workforce. Obviously, a lot of these other goals have been externally focused. I think this goal kind of turns the lens back inside, and any good library has amazing staff, and so you guys already do since we've met them and know them, but this is just going to be a goal that helps to continue to lift them up and always be looking inside as well. So organizational structure review, looking at defined roles, reporting lines, expectations for all positions. I think we got some feedback, that some folks don't know necessarily what their positions do, or like what they feel like their role is. So that communication and review could give you that opportunity to look at where you're at now and see if there should be some changes or some additional, information available. 5.2, compensation benchmarking. The other feedback we got was that, other libraries pay more money. So a lot of folks will, come to APL, be there for a little bit, and then once something opens up somewhere else, they're gone. And that, that staff turnover impacts your bottom line in terms of the money you invest in someone. And so looking at how you can be competitive in that area helps you retain folks, and making sure that, as always, those funds match what your budget actually can be as well. And then 5.3, structured internal communication strategies, regular all staff meetings, staff intranet or newsletter, and sort of intentional leadership engagement. I mean, I think Kathy and I have seen libraries we've been at, it starts from the top, and also make sure that everybody is having an opportunity to have a conversation or say something they need to get off their chest. It doesn't always mean that, things are going to be the way everybody wants them to be. We know that in any organization, but it does mean that, the board and the administration are keeping ears open, having conversations, and being willing to, talk through things sometimes. So that's there, the multiple ways you could do that through strategy 5.3. And then essentially 5.4, implement structured internal communication strategies, including regular all staff meetings. Oh wait, we got that twice. So 5.4, evaluate and customize customer service and interaction training for staff, including active listening and de-escalation techniques. I mean, this one is becoming more and more prevalent and important in libraries today. Ironically, I'm doing a 4-day training of crisis intervention this week for Cleveland Public Library. So, I mean, case in point right there. What we're doing in libraries isn't what we've always been doing in libraries. More of it is falling into the social service arena, or people struggling with mental health issues, trauma, PTSD, and all that. So we just, as library workers, need to be trained, prepared, and feel as confident as we can in working in those spaces sometimes. And so we feel like it's important enough that it should definitely be a commitment in the strategic plan. And then finally, staff training on library applications and shortcomings of artificial intelligence. Obviously, AI is very much part of all of our lives, and libraries can play an important role in continuing to kind of understand what that landscape is, and not only inform themselves, but inform your community as well. And, training should always be part of making sure staff understand all the applications and platforms you guys use so that they can confidently speak to patrons. It kind of ties back into that, working with your patrons to help them understand some of these ecosystems so they feel more confident with it. So that's it. Any comments or thoughts on goal 5? And then after that, the larger plan.
Hi, Trustee Masinski. The only comment that I want to throw out that was mentioned when the strategic planning work group got together with this, that I think is important to note here in talking about salaries. Albany is a union shop, and there is a union contract, as well as being part of the whole civil service thing. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that is a bigger change than it just sounds like. That's all for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, just to add to that, 90% of our staff is part of the union, and every 3 years or so, we enter into negotiations and always mindful of the resources that the library has. And it's always a thorough process, and you'll hear more about that in the months to come.
I would like to say that it was really super enjoyable to work with Andrea, Melanie Metzger, and Deanna DiCarlo on this project. I don't always say that with every client. I really mean it, really professional. You have top-notch staff throughout the entire system. We were impressed with everybody that we met. You really have a highly functioning library system, and I congratulate you on it.
Me too.
I just have a question. I have a question and a comment, but the question is actually going back to goal 1 and so as long as basically I've been in this city and in the couple years I've been on this board, right, hours have just constantly been a thing, hours of operation. So the performance system-wide service, hours evaluation, integrating usage metrics, peer library comparisons, and audit staffing capacity. I mean, aren't we kind of always doing this and always have been doing this? And so I guess, does this look any different than what we have been doing? And do we expect the outcomes different?
If I could speak to that, I think it's a fair question. Yeah, I mean, the answer is yes. Libraries are always going to be looking at hours and how to make them optimal for the community. The last time we evaluated hours, we had a strategic plan goal in mind, which was to be able to offer weekend programming for families. And that required a really big shift to our hours that concentrated staffing at our 3 largest libraries for Saturday services, and also allowed us to open the 3 smaller libraries on Sundays, thereby having service areas covered on the weekend. That was the idea. But anyway, not to get into the weeds already, but yes, hours are always going to be a struggle because hours and staffing levels are completely intertwined. And so I think that having this goal really honors the community feedback that was heard through the over 1,300 survey responses and general sentiment. If our hours are confusing, could it be that we're not doing a good job communicating about them? Like there are lots of possibilities about how we can thread the needle that is helping people understand what our hours are. So that's one thing I would offer. But I think a different kind of, we're always going to want to look at hours in a different way. And if we did it one way last time, then it might pay to do it a different way and have a different kind of audit next time. So I think it certainly belongs in the plan, and how we approach it is, obviously TBD, but important to keep, I think.
I would say too, it dovetails with folks talking about their frustrations with e-materials. And it's, again, maybe a communication strategy around what things cost. And so while I would like the library to be open more, as we all would, it's like, how do we communicate the very huge cost of even opening one branch and on the next, like another weekend day, and like what that does to our staffing model, and how do we communicate the like financial reality of that to the community.
Can I ask a quick question, Jen, to your comment? Do you have any concern that it suggests in saying perform a system-wide service audit, that it's suggesting we don't do that now?
I mean, I just kind of, yeah, a little bit. Like, I just felt like, oh, we're doing this and we have been doing this. And so how does this look different or feel different than?
The reason I asked was just like, like the wording of like continue to perform to suggest that like this is an ongoing thing. So that was more my question, if there was concern that the implication by having it in here wasn't that we were actively doing this to like continually optimize our service. So just I that's something that I see like when I read it, and so might be worth considering like continue to, and it doesn't mean that the way in which we perform that audit doesn't change, but it suggests like ongoing improvement and reminds people that it's not like, oh, we just realized our service hours weren't working. That, you know, like as we've all seen in our time here, we've been tweaking it. And so that was just a question.
And I think that's a case for a lot of things in here, right? I mean, these are things that we are already doing and that we want to continue to do in strategic and more thoughtful ways. So I understand the idea of them being in here in that way. But that one just also is like the perpetual conversations.
So if I may jump in with a comment, what makes this a little different, and I have no problem with you saying continue to perform or whatever, but the library very strategically staggered the open hours of the branches so that on a certain day of the week, if two locations were closed, there were two others that you could go to. We call that staggering, and it's a particular strategy to use when you don't have enough money to be open all the hours the public wants. Well, it apparently people are so confused about what branch is open when that they don't like that staggering. And that's why we're saying you need an evaluation. How are the hours working? If people's neighborhood branch is not open, do they just not go to another library or do they go somewhere else to use it? So there's a constant tension and an art and a science to scheduling libraries. So we mean by this to do a deeper dive than might have been done in the past.
I mean, Walmart isn't even open 24/7 anymore, so come on.
And actually, that's what's tied into, remember, we have that other goal.
You're muted.
We have another goal in there about look at options for expanded services 24/7. And that includes like the pickup lockers or pickup locations at other places, so that if your hours are limited, there are other things libraries are doing now to allow engagement over a longer stretch of hours.
I guess a big portion of this is how will these goals be communicated to the public? Because a lot of the wording that we're talking about could be cleared up in one of your very, very good presentations. Because I mean, come on, we saw how much the budget presentation helped. So I think that might be important in how we get like the specific points across.
So this document will become very much a public facing document. That Library Strategies is actually working with us to basically graphic design, add all of the nice graphic design that we want to see in a strategic plan. But once it becomes that public facing piece, every quarter, first of all, I'll be reporting out to you all about our progress on the plan. And that also becomes a public facing report as well. So what am I? Your question was, I mean, once you have the language that you want like if the board's wish is to tweak the language of that hours evaluation one, for example, and say something like continue to evaluate system-wide service hours, integrating usage metrics, peer library comparisons, and an audit of staffing capacity, then that just becomes, what the public sees and what they expect us to do. So it's completely in your hands as far as the wording of that strategy or any of the others at this point. But yeah. Did I answer your question at all?
You did.
Okay.
I think to elaborate further, so I guess the
if it's just this document and it's posted online and then maybe printed out and put it on a board, like a pin board out there, it matters more to me that the wording points out the stuff that we've already worked on, and this is just like a furthering of that, as opposed to if we're making like a nice little graphic design thing and it's a lot of more pictures for people to see. I think that it matters less to me that the wording is very precise about how much work you guys have already put into it, if that makes sense. It's less of a question, more of a statement.
Targeting for the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at that. Thanks for summarizing.
It's still going to be a very succinct document, though. I mean, I think that's important to note that what appears is it's not going to be a multi-page document crowded with pretty pictures. It's going to be very much a straightforward, brief document that keeps everybody laser focused on these top level priorities. So
I'm deep in picture books right now, so we are.
yes, it will not be a picture book format. It'll be
Acknowledging that most of us are in the room, but I did see trustee Gauze has joined online. I just want to make sure that she has an opportunity if she has anything she wants to add to the discussion about the strategic.
What?
I almost heard you and then you were gone. Let's see. Oh, thank you.
Hello? Can you hear me? I'm sorry
Yeah,
about
I
that.
can hear you now.
Sorry, sorry about that. Yeah, 13 after I came on. No, I don't have any questions right now. I definitely appreciate the presentation, a lot of great information. Not a surprise with a lot of the things that were discussed, not a surprise at all. But like I said, I do thank you for confirming a lot of, what was already there. But thank you so much.
I also just want to think that the benchmark report was really helpful context and something that I haven't seen at all in my term on the board, and it was really helpful context for me, and also made me feel really good about where we're at. So really appreciate the benchmark report.
Well, I want to make sure Kathy gets all the credit for that because she did all that work. So she's the one you can personally thank.
Thank you, Kathy.
Any other thoughts or questions?
But I'm looking around at people who I think don't have comments. If there are no other questions or comments, is there a motion to approve the strategic plan for APL moving forward?
Trustee Veneta, I motion to approve the strategic plan going forward.
Is there a second?
Trustee Jackson, second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. All
One
opposed?
abstention.
One abstention? Thank you. Seven approve and one abstention. Motion passes. Thank you.
I just want to take this opportunity to thank Kathy and Brian, our consultants, who led us through this process in a really just methodical, encouraging, and I'll say like cheerful way. I mean, they were here in Albany, doing the focus groups, and Kathy was generous enough to come to our staff development day this year and sit with our team and present to our team. And I think staff felt more connected to the process for this strategic plan than has happened in recent years. And I just want to thank the Library Strategies team for everything that they did to support it and for all of their, like I said, encouragement. I certainly felt like everything was kept very well on track. And that's basically what I wanted to say. Thank you, Kathy and Brian, for leading us through this process. And thank you to the board for approving this plan. I'm really excited to get to start working on it. And I think staff will be excited to see it in its final state as well. I think that staff also will understand and appreciate that it's not going to happen overnight and that we're going to take our time to achieve these strategies in the right way. And they'll take the time that they take, but I'm really, really looking forward to getting going. So thank you.
All right, thank you. I believe we're ready to move on.
I think we'll
Geez, are you
take
gonna
our
say-
we'll take our leave if you guys don't need us.
Hey, it's really exciting to watch.
We're on our own boards, right? So
Yeah. Well, cheers to all of you. And by the way, I'm coming back to the Hudson River Valley in August. I enjoyed the train ride from New York City so much. It's a great part of the country.
Well,
it was a
please
pleasure.
pass through.
Thank you guys. Take care.
Good night.
Thank you. Where to wait. All right. Thank you everyone for moving forward with the strategic plan and having that at the beginning so that they could come and go. Starting back at what is more the beginning of the agenda typically. The next item are the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any comments or questions regarding the minutes before I ask for a motion? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I move that we accept the minutes, trustee Barnum.
Is there a second?
Trustee Veneta, second.
Thank you. All in favor? Six. All opposed?
I'm just going to abstain since I was present.
Any abstentions?
One.
Two.
Two.
Thank you. Okay. 6 yeas, 2 abstentions. The minutes passed. For the motion to accept. Great. Moving on to the check register. Are there any comments, questions? Check register. Hearing none, is there a motion to accept the operating check register and capital fund check register, which didn't exist as well?
There were no capital checks to approve, just to be clear. Yeah.
Yes. So I guess the motion to accept the operating check register.
Trustee Allen, I move to accept the operating check register.
Trustee Veneta, second.
Thank you. All in favor? All opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
Okay. We have, for the operating check register, we have 6 approved and 2 abstentions. Jen, is there something?
No, I just didn't get to look at it.
Okay,
So bogged down in everything else.
no worries. Just make sure.
I was.
Great. And moving on to the treasurer's report.
The three items included in the agenda present the library's 2026 fiscal year activity through the 10 months ending April 30th of 2026. The treasurer's report includes two schedules. The first schedule presents the net change in fund balance compared to the budget amounts approved by the board. And then the second schedule presents a further breakdown of expenditures by category. Total support and revenue were slightly over the modified budget, while total expenditures were comparable with the modified budget. The capital fund report presents the financial activity for the capital projects approved by the board. And then the last one is the cash and investment summary, presents the activity in the library's accounts during the reporting month.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments related to the treasurer's report?
I just have a question. It's a really small amount, but the Upper Hudson Library fees, it's like budgeted at 65,000 and it's a little over. Is that not a static number that we know ahead of time, or how is that paid or determined?
Which document are you looking at?
Oh, I'm in the treasury report. On like at the very bottom, basically, where the ULAN fees are.
I could actually touch on that. It's not a static number. It changes every year. When we put together the budgets, we don't always have the upcoming ULAN increase, and UHLS is on a January through December fiscal year. We're on July through June. So their 2026 ULAN fee, for example, is not going to be equal to what we have in fiscal 26. Our fiscal 26 will have half of that fee and then half of the 2027 fee, which we don't always have when we initially create the budget. So it sometimes is the budget will sometimes be off by a couple $1,000 at this point in the year.
Thanks, Adam.
And I had the same question about the Upper Hudson, and then the same question about memberships, and perhaps it's all essentially the same type of answer, but memberships and then office and library supplies. And I see the office and library supplies was cut in half for the modified, but now
I can speak on that one too. So we did cut that in half earlier in the year. That was back when we had a contract with National. They were delivering toner to us, and we were no longer paying for toner a la carte, so to speak. So we had a contract with them that was being paid out of the professional services line. We canceled that contract mid-year. After we did the budget modification. So we didn't get a chance to formally modify the office and library supplies budget back up, because now, and for several months now, we have been paying for toner a la carte again. So that's why that is a bit over the budget there.
then what is memberships? What does that entail?
That's, for example, the New York Library Association, as well as ALA, as well as Human Resources professional organization. Adam, do you have any other lines in your head?
There's really not too many. I think the reason it varies sometimes is either the fees go up year to year, they change year to year, or there may be some memberships that we don't pay every single year. Again, it's a very small budget, so with it being off by $1,000, it's usually due to one membership fee that maybe we didn't pay for last year.
Right.
I don't have everything in front of me right now, so I can't be more specific, unfortunately.
And I believe ALA or NILA changed their fee structure on what is considered what size of a library you are, and it's based on your population. And I think like the cutoff is 98,000. And so I think we snuck over that to the 99,000 officially. And so it bumped us up to another organization membership level, which caused the fees to increase that we weren't expecting.
And we can always adjust that line going into the next fiscal year.
Any other questions before we move on to committee and liaison reports? All right, reporting out. I will start and just say that I was at the art opening, and I will let other trustees talk about it.
I too was at the art opening. It's awesome. Really, really fun exhibit. Insane number of pieces. Like it's prolific. You can keep walking around for a while, and it was really well attended, which was really fun and nice. It was just like a really lovely Friday evening. And also at the Pine Hills branch, I went to the Master Gardener talk about trying to work towards a more native landscape in your own home garden, which was really interesting. And they gave you a ton of materials and answered any question anyone had, and just really, really cool. And I believe the Master Gardeners are there on Tuesdays, like working in the garden. So you can like hop in and like ask them questions there, and they're happy to like field questions about gardening, which is just like a really cool, it's like not exactly a library of things, but more than for free.
Library of people.
Yeah. Which is actually a thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
I will also echo the enthusiasm for the art opening on Friday. But I also want to bring attention to an event I attended Monday virtually, which was the Monday Gentle Movement class, which is, I believe, a recurring weekly opportunity that is hosted out of Howe. But what I think is particularly exceptional about this event is, our strategic plan was talking about accessibility. And what's beautiful about this event is it, walks you through physical movement that you can do physically on site at Howe from the comfort of your own home. So whether you are homebound or you're like me and you were remotely working that day and needed a break, but also that this movement program, even concerns like if you are able to stand and physically move versus if you are someone who needs facilitated sort of seating to walk you through movement. So I just thought that was a really nice sort of calming midday activity for myself and others in attendance. So
Trustee Veneta. I went with my little to the Bach branch to have story time. It was a lot of fun. We learned about butterflies. She slept the whole time, so I learned about butterflies. And then we did go to the drag story hour, which was very, very fun. We did a lot of dancing and movement. She woke up for the glitter portion, which I did not appreciate because I do not want glitter everywhere, despite my general vibe. But 10 out of 10, highly recommend. It was so much fun. We got to hang out with a lot of folks and their kids, and it's just a lot of fun to see recurring faces at those events.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Anyone else before I move us along to our committees? The first committee was executive committee. We did meet on May 27th to appoint trustees to the personnel committee. We did this because we needed to ensure that the director's annual evaluation is completed. And as trustee Ellen and I both previously served on personnel, executive committee assigned us to that committee. For the strategic planning committee, Basically just saw everything just a little bit ago. So hooray. And audit and finance.
Audit. and
Facilities? Yeah. Okay, I don't believe facilities met.
No, facilities did not meet.
And, oh, so, and nominating. Yes, nominating committee.
We didn't meet.
Okay, personnel.
Yes,
committee.
nominating committee did not meet.
Thank you. Personnel did meet on June 4th. In order to complete Director Nicolai's evaluation in a timely fashion, we decided to use the same tool that's been used the last couple of years under the guidance of Trustee West. I just want to use this as a shout out that if everyone could please complete the evaluation as soon as possible, it would be appreciated. Trustee Elm emailed the link last Thursday, the 4th. We would like it by the 30th. Okay, policy and governance.
Policy and governance met on May 26th here at Washington Ave. The principal focus of our meeting was to review the feedback, the red lines we received from council, in which we had, at our previous meeting, asked that the 5 policies be reviewed in order to ensure that they were compliant with the recent amendments to the New York State Board of Regents, New York Public and Association Library Minimum Standards on Board Approved Written Policies. I feel like they need a snappy acronym for that one. But later on in tonight's agenda under new business, we will be reviewing the recommended policy changes as reviewed by legal and recommended by the Policy and Governance Committee.
Thank you. All right. Then almost last is the Upper Hudson Liaison Report. I'd like to report that Director Sayes has joined the board of the Capital District Library Council, which will help Upper Hudson build relationships across the area. And I just wanted to point out from our strategic plan comments earlier, how well that ties in relationships routes that we're very fortunate to have. Director Sayes being as with all of the other non-public libraries as possible as well. Upper Hudson, the UHLS, the trustee board will be installing their trustees tomorrow. That will not be unseen. 5 new trustees. And just as we mentioned, the annual meeting is tomorrow at the Albany. On to FFAPL.
Yeah, met May 20th. We celebrated the library budget passing with 79% of the vote. We went over the bylaw edits that the subcommittee had worked on and passed those along to council for to have them look that over, and we're still in the process of going over that. We went over the donor perfect consultants feedback, and I think most importantly, we set some very reasonable, attainable goals of what to do with that database, and most importantly, to put out an appeal by the end of this year, which I'm I'm really excited about. I think we made it like small but manageable and attainable. And discuss strategic plan that we all just looked at. Went over Tuesday book talks, and then finally, once the bylaws are completed, we are going to move on to developing a memorandum of understanding. So between the library and FFAPL. Oh, and we did Director Nikolai's report that we will.
Okay. And before letting her give her report, stealing some thunder. I forgot to mention that at the last Upper Hudson meeting, they revealed the winners for the programs of the year, and APL is the biggest winner this year. And I was very excited and very proud of us, and wasn't allowed to say anything, and it was awful. Okay, now we can have the director's report.
Okay, because this is such a full agenda, I'm gonna go at a rather quick pace here, but I want to say first and foremost, thank you to the entire community of Albany for approving our proposed budget. It's absolutely true that this vote was incredibly consequential for the library, and it's going to mean that we're on solid footing for years to come. We're going to be working with audit and finance to make sure that we're that we continue to stay on that solid footing and build for success, build to keep up with inflation, et cetera. So it also means peace of mind for the staff, job security, and it's just at this moment that we're also entering into this new strategic plan. So I'm really excited to move forward and achieve great new things for Albany Public Library. It's going to take a lot of careful planning to get where we're going, but we truly do have an exceptional team here. I know I say it all the time, but our managers and our staff and our dedicated team here is second to none. So with all of that said, just feeling really optimistic about what we do for the city and for everybody in it. And so I'll segue from that into some of the outreach activities. We've already started working in effect on some of these strategies that are in our new plan. We met with the senior center organizer at the Albany County Senior Center, which is the new senior center on the St. Rose campus. And we're going to be bringing them a senior book club that meets every other month. We're also doing pop-up library programs at the senior center there. I know from many neighborhood association meetings I attended throughout budget season that it's being really well used. Like those yoga programs are being extremely well attended, and they have pool open hours. Anyway, it's a really great community resource there, and I look forward to supporting it and connecting with new patrons through that senior center. The Friends and Foundation report has already been covered. I wanted to mention that the head of public safety, Mike Fargione, has been attending the City of Albany's violence prevention working group meetings, and those meetings happen now routinely, and it's a coalition that the city is supporting through their violence prevention office, which is a newly established office within the city structure. So we're very happy to have a seat at that table. We're going to continue to work with them to find ways to reduce violence. I know that there's some exciting news coming soon this week, actually, from the city about a new way of communicating opportunities for youth in the summertime. So we're going to be part of that. In terms of community engagement, this is one area where we did win a prize for our for our volunteer. Our volunteer is going to be announced tomorrow as the Hudson Volunteer of the Year. His name is Matt McCurvin, and he basically was the first volunteer to join our volunteer corps in the volunteer program reboot, and he volunteers his time at the Albany Made Creative Lab. He is incredible. He is always happy to assist people He created and invented I made a mess in makerspace sticker, which you can make one there with him. Moving on to branch services, I just want to go through some highlights. Our Arbor Hill West Hill staff member, Bonnie Beaumont, is responsible for creating the Youth Services Program of the Year that is recognizing, which is the Arbonauts Space Club. And the Arbonauts Space Club encourages curiosity about space and space exploration through crafts, experiments, and other activities. And she's done an absolutely incredible job really creating that as an anchor program for Arbor Hill West Hill, and people continue to discover it and embrace it. And I'm really happy that she and the team are being recognized for that programming. At Bach, we had American Sign Language interpreter for one of our baby bounce story times. That was a real big hit with kids and parents who attended. At Delaware, Delaware is home to yet another winner. Lori Buckley, who is a librarian there, worked with Bring on the Spectrum to create an all abilities, program. Bring on the Spectrum supplied us with a kit of sensory materials, and Lori creates time for people with all kinds of abilities to gather, and it's an opportunity for social connections. It's an opportunity to have some, quiet enjoyment of the library and really make connections. So Lori and Jude Vesper, who created the program in tandem at Pine Hills, together won Adult Program of the Year through Up Hudson. So I'm kind of stealing Up Hudson's thunder because this is going to be these prizes are going to be announced tomorrow night. These awards are announced at the annual dinner. So moving on to how in honor of Deaf Awareness Week, same day, how partnered with Capital Region Language Center to provide another ASL themed workshop. And North Albany continues to see the seed library thrive. A lot of people visit North just to get seeds. They discover that there's a branch there, and it's a win-win for everybody. Free seeds. At Pine Hills, as Trustee Allen mentioned, the native plants in the home landscape program was super well attended, and we partnered with the Cornell Cooperative Extension on that. And finally, at Washington, over 100 people, actually now probably over 133 people, have stopped by the youth services room to see the eggs that are incubating there. We do a partnership program each year with a farm, and the eggs eventually either hatch, don't sometimes, life brings all kinds of outcomes there, but it's a really great learning opportunity for kids, and our farmer comes with us, I think, 3 different programs over the course of the partnership. So that's been great. It's a real time-honored tradition here in the children's room at Washington Avenue. And I just want to give our communications department a shout out because they did a really great job sharing information about our community report, our budget vote throughout budget season. And they also helped by creating this series of More to Know at APL, which was part of our information campaign that went on through budget season about everything that the community needs to know about how our library is performing. So I want to give them a shout out, well deserved, for all the work they did to support me, to support the library, that entire process. It's a really creative team, and I'm really lucky to work with them. So any questions? Happy to respond. That's
in the very beginning of your report, there was a mention about outreach with Tell a Story and Brooklyn. Is that exactly what I think it is? Like,
if you think it's a program where incarcerated people can connect with loved ones.
Nope, I was thinking of like kid Zoom story time. But this is better.
This is a partnership with Brooklyn Public Library and the Department of Corrections. And Tell a Story is a way for people who are incarcerated to connect with their families. Their families come to the library and do video calls with them at the library. And it's arranged through the Department of Corrections. So there's a big process to go through to get there, but we're taking one step at a time with Brooklyn Public Library. And we're going to be the first satellite location in New York State for this Tell a Story program. So I'm really excited to bring it to Albany. And that means a lot less travel time for families of incarcerated people who have to travel from other places in New York State to connect with their loved ones over video. It's not something they can just do at home.
Wonderful, thank you. Right. Moving along. I'm sorry, were there any more questions? Okay. Monthly statistics.
Okay, I want to thank Melanie for putting together the statistics and the statistics observations, which she does so well every month. We saw an overall year-to-date circulation increase of 2%, led by increases at Washington, Pine Hills, Howe, and in digital content. We unfortunately saw a dip in our programming attendance in May. We saw the lowest program attendance actually in 4 years. One factor was definitely Tulip Fest, which ended up being a little bit soggy this year, and we saw a lot less engagement. In fact, we ended up holding up a little bit on the early side because it was just very cold and wet for the staff who were at that outreach event. So, you know, you win some, you lose some, but we're gonna obviously keep going to represent APL at Tulip Fest for years to come. And finally, Washington Avenue has been fully switched over to the new Wi-Fi access points. And so we saw jump in usage, which is connected to all of the staff devices that need to get on the Wi-Fi network now, in addition to the stronger service overall, which probably supports additional patron devices getting connected and staying connected. So kudos to the IT department for bringing that project to completion. And I also included the Upper Hudson system-wide circulation trend report for you. That's the last item under the director's report heading. And that is, I offer this to show where our trends are and how they compare with Upper Hudson overall. And this is basically taking the entire Upper Hudson Library System's statistics into account. So it shows that our trend is near the wider Upper Hudson trend. You know, obviously the numbers are of a different scale for APL as they are for system-wide, but in general, we're seeing the same kinds of trends with physical and digital circulation, which is, I think, interesting for you all to see how we're doing compared with Upper Hudson as a whole on average since 2018.
The data part of my brain keeps saying, but Albany is the largest library in the Upper Hudson Library System. So we should be driving those statistics and therefore should be following it. But I do think this is good. Great. Any other comments or questions? Okay. There was no unfinished business from the last meeting. Moving on to new business. We have policies.
Yeah, so the Policy and Governance Committee met, and as Trustee Barnum said earlier, went through all of the policies that are in a batch that's being recommended by the regents to kind of make sure that all libraries in New York State are refreshing and updating these policies on a regular basis. So the first policy that's in front of you is the whistleblower policy, and you had the red line version and the clean version to review. So I guess I would ask if there are any questions about the red line version that was provided or corrections to be made.
So I have one question. I just have to find my document. So
Oh, wait, I'm in the wrong one. Sorry. If somebody else has whistleblower, I do have questions, so I have to get.
I don't think we have any feedback or questions about this policy.
Yeah, we received feedback from a couple other policies via email, but those
So I
will
think
be
these
brought
are
up
being
during-
voted one at a time.
Yes,
right?
yeah. So just saying, we didn't receive anything supplemental to content being sent out, so.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So my question was under, okay, now I'm in the right policy.
Well,
The-
we're just going one at a
vote
time
on
though,
the
so
whistleblower.
this
Yeah,
one
yeah,
has to be voted first.
This is just whistleblower. If you have like EEO ones, for
No,
example, we'll
this is
get that.
whistleblower.
Okay.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I thought you said,
Right, but I was in EEO, but I meant whistle, but I
Oh.
have questions about the I'm really sorry. But that's why I couldn't find my place. Okay, so in the, it says under policy, the compliance officer shall report on compliance activity to the library's Board of Trustees, Audit and Finance Committee. But then I believe in most, if the compliance, sorry, and then there was somewhere that oh, okay. And then it says that the compliance officer, oh, is the subject of the report, is that the difference? Then the report goes to the executive committee? Yes. Okay. So that's the distinction. The normal thing would be to go to audit and finance. And is that, I guess I was just a little confused about that.
Is that normal?
Audit and finance.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
Can you state that question again? Sorry.
Yeah, so under policy, it says the compliance officer shall report on compliance activity to the library's Board of Trustees Audit and Finance Committee. Which I just wasn't sure why everything would go to audit and finance. Policy.
As opposed to like executive, right?
Right.
It feels like all of that should just go to the executive. Why would it?
It did go to executive, but then I realized that's slightly different wording. It says that the compliance officer is subject to the report, then the report would go to the executive committee. But I would think all of it would go.
can I just ask which page you're on of the clean version? Oof.
Oh, of the clean version.
Or,
okay.
or the red line version, either one.
Yeah, right under policy.
So is the question, why does it say audit and finance as opposed to the executive committee?
Yeah, it just seemed an odd committee, like, not that it's an odd committee, but like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like,
It doesn't feel relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would that be a proposed change that you're suggesting, that it goes to the compliance officer shall report on compliance activity to the library's Board of Trustees and Audit and Finance Commit, or the Executive Committee? There's no particular reason, okay, that it can't be the Executive Committee. I think that that would be just a change that the board would want to discuss.
Is there a reason it was going there in the first place? Do you guys know?
See, then I'm trying to go back to the red lines.
When was it changed?
It looks like it was last reviewed in 2019.
That's pre-Pandy. Crazy times.
I mean, I guess, I don't know. I just.
We can always
don't
table
know
this
enough about-
discussion
yeah,
and follow up
I
on
just
it.
wasn't
Right.
sure if that was normal to use Rachel's.
It doesn't seem like there would be any reason that it couldn't be executive, and it seems like it would be more appropriate just because there might be all different kinds of compliance issues that could come up, right? I mean, that would be one reason that it could be changed. You could, I mean, I don't know if it would be more advisable to table it or to approve it with that change and then amend it again if necessary. I don't know.
Yeah, in my mind, it seems like a more appropriate would be the term committee for it to.
Could I make just a comment? I'm looking at the original one that's posted on our website, and it does list the executive committee, so I don't know where I don't know where the audit and finance committee came into play.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, then I would feel better, and yes, I propose it as a.
Also under
I didn't want to just be making stuff up on my own.
under investigation procedures, that first paragraph states that, for example, if the compliance officer is the subject of the complaint, then notification should be made directly to a member of the executive committee. And then the executive committee is cited
Throughout.
a few more times. Yeah,
Yeah.
throughout. So that might
Just
just
one
been-
place, which also struck me as odd, but.
Mhm.
And then just a quick comment also while we're on whistleblower under, you have 2026 under the reviewed instead of amended.
So to summarize the changes you're looking at. Hello.
Why tonight I'm having like an issue finding who's talking. Hi.
No, you're like going through your brain. It's a lot. So to make sure that I understand, it looks like somewhere along the lines, executive committee was inadvertently changed to audit and finance. So we are looking, and that is the only instance of audit and finance mentioned. So ensuring that the changes, it goes to executive committee. And then your second suggestion is at the bottom under approved and reviewed. It would be reviewed February 2019, amended June 2026. Are those the two edits that you're looking at? Okay.
And I think that, yeah, I mean, that's how it is on all of them. It's amended 2026. It just, on this one, it just got under reviewed.
So
Can-
the,
Sorry.
oh, go ahead.
Audit and Finance Committee is mentioned one more time, and I'm not sure if it's also inadvertent. For some reason, it gives the Audit and Finance Committee the ability to identify additional key persons. Is that supposed to also maybe have been remained with the Executive Committee?
Melanie.
It's
do
in the
you do that?
definition section, letter C. And like Melanie pointed out, the old whistleblower policy doesn't even mention audit and finance once.
Hello? That definition section is added completely, so there was no even correlating section in the original.
And if I would add that those references should be changed to executive committee.
So can we still vote on it with the changes? Okay, great. And do we need a motion, like a first motion again, since it's been amended? Okay.
There you go, stealing my question. Is there a motion to adopt the wait, well, actually, before I do that, Trustee Gauze, did you have any questions or comments? Hearing none.
No, typically, though, in the history of when we're doing this, we would have whatever changes that were suggested on the floor. It would go back to committee, and a revised version will be presented before we voted on it. Just on the record, but I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. Mackenzie, we're okay moving forward. Motion?
You can move forward with the motion. As long as the revisions are clearly stated in in the record.
Okay.
Okay, trustee Allen, I move that we adopt the whistleblower policy with the discussed amendments.
Good question from Mackenzie. Is it worth spelling them out explicitly in our motion?
Yes.
Okay, so updating any occurrence of audit and finance to executive committee. And adding the date that these are amended at the bottom of the policy.
Second, Barnum.
Thank you. All in favor? And all opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
Right. Whistleblower policy passes 7-7. Approve, 1 abstention. Thank you. On to the next policy. Great. Public access to library information and records policy.
So in reviewing this in preparation for tonight's meeting, I noticed a few things I wanted to propose as changes that are not really substantive, more like typos. I'm looking at the clean copy. Sorry, this is trustee Reed. I was probably supposed to say that. Under policy, paragraph 1A, I guess, the sentence that reads, the records access officer is responsible for ensuring appropriate library response to public requests for access to records, and then the records access officer shall also ensure. I believe those should be ensures, just for clarity. And then there's clearly a thing that just got left in edits. I'm now on page 2, paragraph 4D. The very last sentence just has a random LI and then the word library. I think that LI just needs to be deleted. Again, not substantive, but if we're voting to change them, we might as well get it right.
And Director Nicolai, we discussed, I believe, changing the email address to foil@albanypubliclibrary.org as opposed to records access, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, I had suggested records access because it's a little bit more plain language and it opens up, I mean, like not everyone knows the acronym Freedom of Information Law.
Take a while.
Including apparently myself. But that was a small administrative change that I proposed.
Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. Yeah, it was just came up after we had previously met. So I just want to make sure.
Any additional comments, questions related to public access? Trustee Gauze, any from you?
No.
Thank you. Right. Would someone like to make a motion with the changes?
Sure. Trustee Reed moves to accept the public access to library information and records policy with the changes discussed, specifically paragraph 1A, changing instances of insuring with an I to ensuring with an E, and deleting an errant LI in paragraph 4D, page 2.
Thank you.
And adding
adding
the email address, records access at.
records access at, although that's on the version I'm looking at.
Oh, okay. My
I
apologies.
think what I did forget to mention though is adding today's date. Editing.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Trustee Jackson, second.
Thank you. All in favor? All opposed? Any abstentions?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes 7-1. The one is an abstention. Thank you. All right, moving along to privacy and confidentiality. The privacy and confidentiality of library policy.
We didn't receive any additional email, but just to summarize the changes that were made in the policy, I believe it was eliminating acronym uses of APL, making it the library, and also looking at gender neutral language, which is a good policy change across the board for all our policies.
Thank you. Any additional comments, questions? Hearing none. Is there?
Trustee Veneta, second.
Thank you. All in favor of accepting the privacy and confidentiality of library records policy? Seven ayes. Any noes? Any abstentions?
Aye.
Thank you. Library privacy and confidentiality of library records policy passes 7-1 abstention. Thank you. Man, you guys were busy. All right. Moving along to equal employment opportunity, anti-discrimination, anti-harassment, and reasonable accommodation policy. Super discussion.
We did get some feedback from trustee questioning the human resources manager change to a lowercase m, which was intentional, just to be more encompassing of the actual titles that we do have at the library, which don't include resources manager category. We also had feedback from trustees.
Just trying to find out.
Thank you.
Can whoever's speaking, if you could speak louder, please, it's really difficult to hear.
So it is under investigation.
No, I'm sorry, whoever was just speaking, was that Trustee Allen?
Yes.
Yeah, could you just repeat that? It's really hard to hear.
We got feedback on changing human resources manager, the M, to a lowercase m, and this was an intentional change. The library doesn't have a human resources manager with a capital M position. So we changed it to a lowercase m to encompass more of the human resources positions that can exist under the civil service titles.
Okay.
This is Trustee Marlowe now, and I am looking at investigation procedures of discrimination, harassment, and or retaliation, which is pages 8 to 9. and I guess I'm actually on page 9, which is the final bullet. It says inform the individuals who reported of the right to file a complaint or charge externally as outlined in the next section. That seems to be followed by a typo where it just says, or not a fact-finding investigation is necessary, just randomly in the middle there. And then it goes on to say, if it is determined that a fact-finding investigation is necessary, so I don't think that that second part even goes with this bullet unless I'm misunderstanding the necessity of a fact-finding investigation. I think that's still part of the internal process, not about an individual going to file a complaint externally.
I'm sorry, who was that question for?
Their council or the committee?
Oh,
I agree. This is Mackenzie Clark, counsel to the library. I agree that that last bullet point under the investigation, procedures of discrimination, harassment, and or retaliation. I agree that that last bullet point needs to be reworked. It's possible that when I was redlining this and it was getting, because there were so many substantial revisions to this policy, that was just not caught. But I agree that that last bullet point does need to be reworked.
Okay, and then, yeah, so I don't know where in the process exactly that the fact-finding investigation step moves to, but somewhere else. And then following the entire bulleted list, it says investigations pursuant to this policy will be conducted by the human resources manager or designee. Oh, sorry, just to go back to that bullet point one more time too. It also says the right to file a complaint or charge externally as outlined in the next section, but the section about external complaints is 2 sections. I believe later. And then beyond the bullet point says investigations pursuant to this policy will be conducted by the human resources manager or designee or by outside legal counsel. I think that also needs to be moved up somewhere. And I was telling Paige, like, I don't have an exact place, but it seems like that's part of the overall investigation procedure and doesn't come at the end. So it goes maybe after that first paragraph about all complaints or information, and then while the process may vary.
Given that we're going to rework that section, I think we'll include that as part of a rework and revisit it. Does that sound fair? Committee, does that sound? All right.
So we can table that. Do we have to move to table it? Okay.
I have a question regarding the policy itself. Was Council Schofield involved in any part of the revision of this policy? Or consulted in any way, shape, or form as far as like the revision of this policy?
This is Mackenzie Clark, counsel to the library. Yes, counsel, I was involved in this as well as counsel Schofield.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this is Trustee Allen. I moved to table this policy until we have time to go back through and rework the the paragraphs that were discussed in this meeting.
Trustee Marlowe, I second.
Thank you. All in favor, tabling? Aye. All opposed to tabling? Any abstentions from tabling?
Aye.
It is tabled, vote 7 to 1 abstention. Okay, moving along to the conflict of interest policy. Are there any comments, discussion, questions? Okay, hearing no comments or questions. Does this as it is stand as a motion from committee? And are we looking for a second? No. Yes. So is there a second for the conflict to adopt the conflict of interest policy?
Second, trustee Benita.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions?
One abstention.
Thank you. The conflict of interest policy is accepted with an approval of 7 to 0 to 1 abstention. Thank you. All right. And then the last item before public comment is to discuss board conduct, and I will hand it over to trustee Gauss.
I just want to know if everyone had an opportunity to review the emails that were sent out.
Yes.
Is that like a unanimous yes, or I
Trustee
can't
Reed
tell?
is kind of in the dark. So
Well, yeah, of course.
I guess that's a
you
no
just
for
got
me.
here. No, I mean, I definitely understand. You just got here, so
These are the same ones from last meeting that we tabled, right? Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Then yeah.
yeah. Okay. That's. I'm gonna leave it to that. I'll leave it to that right now. That's gonna be all. We can move to adjourn the meeting. I'm just gonna leave it at that for right now.
Okay.
If no one else has anything else to comment regarding that, but I'll reserve my comments at this time.
Okay, thank you. Is there any additional public comment? Okay, we have no need for executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Trustee Allen, I will move to adjourn.
Trustee Benita, second.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
We're voting on adjournment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, aye.
Okay.
I know it happened
Okay.
real fast.
It is 7:59. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Just a note, if, I don't need to talk into the microphone a little bit.
1 second, please.
I just wanted to make a note about exiting.